Alright, welcome back everyone. I am wandering off, and we're currently going through a tutorial slash walkthrough of a Blademaster in Grim Dawn. In the last episode, we left off on level 10. I'm really bad about that. I had my buff bar on again. Easy to do. Which is really bad when it comes to higher levels. But this ring is still... It's a very useful skill. Blade Burst is very good as well. I tend to like Ring is still better. In my opinion, you should take the time and use them both and see which one you like better. With our build, some of the gear does require some spirit. So later on, sometimes you might find yourself having to put your attribute points into spirit just to wear a piece of gear. And if you go into this cave, you'll run into a mini boss. You can choose to do it now or wait or just not do it at all. The cave is filled with poison, so you just want to be careful. If you don't have any poison res, you might want to find some before going into it. So this is Pasquil, the Hoarder. Again, it's really an optional thing if you want to do it or not. You don't have to. There is a totem down here. Totems are always fun to do. They give you some gear and they also normally will level you up. They are worth doing. And now we are level 11.
Come see what's left of my wares.
The vendors in this game do actually sell. You can actually find some decent gear in this game, so it is worth checking them. Alright, now that we're level 11, we're going to go ahead and grab Soldier, which is our second class. Again, we've got to put points in our mastery. Soldier, intense physical conditioning necessary to brave the harsh reality of Karn. So we'll put 1 point in our mastery. This will unlock Markovian's advantage. The renowned tactician Markovian always maneuvered to strike from the higher ground. This classic attack, inspired by Markovian's battlefield tactics, features a powerful downward strike to throw enemies off balance and weakening their defenses. Can activate with all default weapon attacks. Force Weave. Such force is channeled into the attack that it compresses the very air, projecting out a wave of energy that stuns and damages foes. This attack requires a shield or two-handed melee weapon. And so, for us, we are going to be using Cadence. The use of weapon forms in combat gives your attacks a natural cadence with peaks and ebbs that predictable are nonetheless effective and difficult to counter. When used as your default weapon attack, Cadence will magnify the power of every third single weapon strike. So we're just going to go ahead and put 2 in here. Later on, we'll come back and we'll grab Markovian's advantage. It is a very good one to have. But right now, we're more focused on getting cadence, so we have something other than a default attack. This just helps us out with our single target attack, so when it comes to bosses, we have a little more push to get them down, and so that's why we go ahead and use cadence. Force weave, you'll have to have a two-handed weapon or a shield, and since we're wanting to dual blade, we don't have either, so we can't use force weave. Let's go back. And there is a quest down here somewhere. For me, I love to explore, so I can take my leisure time and fill out the entire map. You don't need to. You know the game well enough, you can just rush through. I'm getting better at getting through. For this playthrough, we're not really concerned about how long it takes because there's a lot of information to go through. It's just gonna be however long it takes. I mean, I want to try to put as much information into the video as I can. but I kind of want to make the videos not exactly humongous either. So now we're level 12. I've found it easiest to focus on one mastery, get it maxed out, and then focus on the other mastery. It really depends on your build, but I've found that it's just easier to try to max out the masteries one at a time than trying to mix and match. So what we're going to do for this is we're going to put the 3 points just straight into our mastery. We'll need 2 more to unlock the next skills section. But it's really up to you how you want to do it. If you already know ahead of time how your build is going to go, you may be putting into both.
Put it to good use.
So now we're level 12. This game does have a lot of hidden entrances to different dungeons. I have not found them all. Found a few. But there are quite a few hidden things in this game. And really, you shouldn't have to worry too much about buying potions. You should find plenty throughout the world. Unless you decide to go to the Crucible at the start, that's really the only reason you'll want to get potions. Because you'll need some, especially if you're going in there at level 1. So if you have another character, they have some spare change to give. You can do it that way. But like I say, I would recommend if you're gonna do the Crucible, just get to level 5 and then start. I mean, it is possible to do at level 1. It's just kind of painful. And we'll get more into the Crucible a little later. The outskirts of Veteran and the Crucible. We will do that at some point. And this is Milton Hart. He is the quest person I was talking about. He can sometimes be found here, and sometimes he can be found other places. Well, one other place. And these eyeball looking things are one of my most hated enemies in this game. And the reason being is because they like to run away from you. And as melee, it kind of gets irritating to chase them. So if you come down into this dungeon, it levels us up to 13. Go get a quest from this guy. Since we're so far up, we're gonna go ahead and walk to the next waypoint. Just so we can get it. And then we'll go back to town. Oops. Some reason I always select the wrong one. And then now we're level 13, so
It's good use.
now we will continue our spend our 3 points this way. This unlocks Whirling Death, a devastating technique intended for multi-target combat. Those that survive are left bleeding as if from 1,000 cuts. This is a melee dual-wielding technique that activates off of default weapon attacks. And so we are going to grab that. So that's where we will spend our last point. There is Ring of Frost. A powerful pneumatic technique causes the Ring of Steel to draw energy from the nearby air, magnifying cold damage and freezing foes, but at the cost of piercing damage. Since we're focusing on pierce damage, we don't want to use this one. This one is really great if you're making a pure cold build. It freezes enemies and is really actually worth getting for a different build. But for our build, we just want to stick with the Ring of Blade, so we won't use it. Nadala's justifiable ends. As a practitioner of poisons, found unsavory by most Nightblades, Nadala maintain that the ends justify the means. This toxic twist on the traditional Shadow Strike will ensure the end of any foe that survives the initial attack. We also unlocked Blade Trap. Your command of Nightblade's techniques allows you to entrap enemies with a prison of deadly phantasmal blades. that is all the skill points we have unlocked so far. Run in here. When you kill Milton Heart, you can come and complete this quest. Reputation points for Devil's Crossing, and you get an amulet. And sometimes the amulet better than what you have, so you can throw it on.
I'll give you a good price for what I've got left.
That skill.
And we'll go in here. So as of right now, this will be our third shrine, or third devotion point. This one, we actually have to fight monsters. Sometimes there is a totem in this dungeon, so you might check. It's normally found right here. I don't see it, so we'll just move on. And since we have another point, might as well spend it. This gives us plus 20 defense and 8 pierce resistance. And follow this little path down here to its own little island. That little cave we went into with the guy laying on the ground. Clicking this completes that, and you get Isaac Spalders. Normally the first place I ever get shoulders from. So it's always good to do that. You can come here without talking to him, but I think you miss out on the 250 experience if you do it that way. So that's why it's worth talking to him. If you want experience, it doesn't really matter. If you go to him after you've already clicked the thing, you don't get the 250 experience. This is the guy that you need the slith necklaces for. And you only need 3. This will give you 250 in Rober's reputation and Slith Primal Ring. Again, this ring is a very good ring starting out because it gives you poison resistance, vitality resist, and elemental resist. So it's worth getting. And you'll also need scrap for crafting, so it is a good idea to just go ahead and grab any scrap you see from a vendor. Along the way, we collect components, which is what this serrated spike is, and the frozen heart, and stuff like that. You will collect a lot of them throughout your playthrough, and these components are very useful. Right now, we're going to put serrated spike on one of our weapons, and then we'll go to our thing and we'll put it here, and that gives us a buff. And if we find another serrated spike, we will go ahead and throw it on other weapon. And as we get higher up in levels, the longer it will take to level, so... There is, eventually you can get a experience potion. In my opinion, this game, you know, getting to 100, sure, it's a little bit of a grind, but it's not awful. Without the experience potion, it's just, it's not that bad, in my opinion. Sure, it's great that they offer it. You have to have a certain rep in order to get it. I've never bothered. I don't feel that this game really has the grind. Like some of the others, but then again, I'm used to playing World of Warcraft where some of those levels were insane to try to grind. So I don't find it all that bad to try to grind to 100 in this game. Eventually there is that option of getting that potion. Alright, so now we're level 14. At this time, there's no other skill we really want to put points into. I mean, we want to beef these up. This is probably a good time to come back to Soldier. We can go ahead and put 1 point in Markovian's advantage. And then we're going to go ahead and push the 2 points into the mastery. So we'll need 2 more points before we get to this one. And that quest is complete.
Come see what's left of my wares.
And like this helm, this gives us +2 to dual blades, so it is actually a useful helm. I might hold on to that. Alright, now we have our second serrated spike, so we'll go here. So it is kind of a useful helm. And then, let's make sure that we do that. We'll go ahead and get to level 15. I know this will be a little longer video, but we're gonna go ahead and push to level 15. Oh, this is the...
That skill's not.
I was thinking the other place. There is a mini boss in there. You can choose to do or not. We're just gonna go ahead and move on. There is a person that's trapped somewhere. Okay, it's here. And it can be on, he can be on the right side or the left side. This area. It changes all the time. This guy you don't have to save if you don't want to, you can ignore him. He is a vendor, so I always think that it's a good idea to get him. If you choose this one, he'll give you 1500 iron for teleporting him to town. Then when you go back to town, you'll have another vendor. Or you can be nice and just offer him a teleport for free. It's up to you. It's a good idea to grab the 1500 from him. Especially if you're just starting your character and you don't have any other characters.
That skill's not.
Now up here, you can choose to repair this and not even go in the cave. The reason you want to go in the cave is because there is a shrine. But it is optional. You can just repair the bridge, and if you're gonna repair the bridge, you definitely want to get the 1500 bits from that merchant. I think it costs bits and it costs scrap. I think it's 3 scrap to fix the bridge and a certain amount of iron. which you may not have unless you talk to him. He might give you enough. Does look like there's a totem in here.
That skill's not
Alright, so now we're level 15. We're gonna go ahead and finish this tunnel since we're here.
my inventory is full.
Now that we have our inventory full and our gear is pretty much rare, we can get rid of the magic. And now rare is the only thing that will show up on our screens. It saves loot time by a lot doing it this way. So we'll come here.
Oh, hello.
So he's asking us to go find somebody. And we'll do that in the next episode. So now we are level 15.
See anything you like?
Go through our points in a minute. So here's our other vendor.
Come see what's left of my wares. See you around. Come see what's left of my wares. Put it to good use.
Alright, so now we have our 3 points here. So what we're going to do is we're going to come back to our soldier. And we're going to put 2 points. And this opens up fighting spirit. Far from breeding you into submission, the sting of enemy blows rouses your anger, instead adding extra force to your attacks. Activates when taking damage. Tremor. With the will of Minar, smash the ground with a mighty two-hander and let rip devastating waves of energy upon your foes. This technique requires a two-hand melee weapon. Tremor is not a default weapon attack enhancer and cannot trigger effects such as Markovian's advantage. If you're going to make a Force Weave build, Force Weave itself has a cooldown, but if you put a point into Tremor, it will take away that cooldown and you'll just be able to constantly use Force Weave the same as with this. So it's going to be instant instead of the cooldown. But it does take a total damage modified by 25%. So there's a 25% damage loss if you do that. Force Weave does enough damage, it's not very noticeable. It is very useful to have it all the way so you can just spam it. Then we get Discord. The Discord of a wrathful soul flows into the soldier's pure fighting cadence and sows it with elemental energy. So basically you can modify your damage to elemental if you want. We are not going to do that, but it is a choice. Minir's will. As you draw close to death, the unyielding will of Minir fills you with renewed strength, requires a shield or two-handed melee weapon. So we don't get to use this one because we don't have a shield or two-handed weapon, but it is a good one to grab. Military conditioning. Heavily regimented military training strengthens and fortifies the body against the hardships of war. And so this is the skill that helps us in our character choosing cunning. Because if we just max this one out, it's giving us physique and health. So we'll put the 1 point that we had left into that, and that just boosts our physique and our health. And so that's what we can really get away with, actually just putting our points into cunning without too much worry. Alright, I do believe that I'm gonna stop this video here. We are currently level 15. And we did end up doing a few quests. We got a new merchant. In the next episode, we will continue. We should find our blacksmith and we should get a few more levels. Thank you all for watching. Again, I am wandering off, and I do hope that you've enjoyed this video. We'll see you in the next one.